government to table Gig Workers Commission Bill in July. Adopt Madani concept to align with technological and digitalization advancements. Good evening and Salam Malaysia Madani. My name is Daryl Baptist and you're watching Malaysia Tonight. We begin tonight's broadcast with some positive news for freelancers. The government will be tabling the Gig Workers Commission Bill in Parliament this July. Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim said the government is tabling the bill after receiving the proposal from youths earlier.
Baru-baru ini ada usul dari belia-belia. Dia minta adakan Suruhanjaya gig kerana puluhan ribu, malah mencecah 100,000 anak-anak muda dalam ekonomi gig. Kerajaan terus setuju dan kita akan persiapkan undang-undang dan insya-Allah boleh dibentangkan di Parlimen pada bulan Julai akan datang.
Datuk Seri Anwar was speaking at the opening of the National Level National Youth Day 2024 at Dataran Palawan, Bandar Hele, Melaka today. The Prime Minister, when speaking at the closing of the Bumiputra Economic Congress, or KEB, in Putrajaya in March, announced the establishment of the Gig Workers Commission to protect the rights of 1.12 million gig workers, with a focus on meeting social needs, resolving contract disputes, and promoting the career advancement of the group concerned. In the same development, Datuk Seri Anwar also announced an additional allocation of 3 million ringgit to the Malaysian Youth Council to implement programs and manage youth clubs across the country.
Dan untuk rakan muda yang menjadi keutamaan ditambah oleh Kementerian Belia, dan saya telah beritahu kepada Nayo, Adam Adli dan Saudara Muhammad Izzat, program belia mesti berikan keutamaan dan dukungan. Jadi saya setuju menyerahkan ini kepada Menteri Belia supaya kita lengkapkan menjadi 10 juta tahun ini.
In the meantime, the Prime Minister said Malaysia can become a great country in the region if the people are united and eliminate arrogance and narrow racism in the community. Therefore, Datuk Seri Anwar said the youth need to equip themselves with knowledge and have enough information, as the group is not renowned for its voice, but the desire for ambition and idealism.
Kita punya tanggungjawab, mesti timba ilmu, mesti pastikan kita ada maklumat yang cukup. Anak muda itu dikenali bukan suaranya, tetapi kerana cita-cita murninya, kerana idealismenya, kerana benci kepada penyelewengan rasuah dan keangkuhan, cinta kepada kebenaran dan kebaikan. Maka kita mesti menolak faham-faham perkauman sempit, faham-faham agama yang jumut, yang melemahkan kita, tapi mengangkat martabat agama dari segi akidah yang baik dan akhlak yang baik. Ini tanggungjawab anak muda. Dalam apa-apa keputusan yang kita lakukan, kita nilai berdasarkan ilmu.
The establishment of the temporary Malaysia for Palestine 24-hour channel demonstrates Malaysia's consistent and clear stance in supporting the Palestinian people oppressed by Israel. Communications Minister Fahmi Fadil said it is hoped that this special broadcast by RTM and Astro will open the eyes of more parties, especially countries that still refuse to express solidarity with the Palestinian people, who have long been victims of the Zionist regime's violence.
Yang penting, usaha 24 jam siaran ini saya terima dengan baik. Dia adalah satu usaha yang cukup murni dan saya harap lebih ramai yang akan dapat terlibat. Terutama di saat genting di mana kita belum lagi lihat pihak-pihak yang menyerang Palestin di Gaza khususnya, di Rafah terutamanya, belum lagi bersedia untuk akur dengan pendirian hampir majoriti negara-negara di dunia.
He said this to reporters after attending the National Journalists' Day Hawana 2024 tour with university students in Kuching today. Yesterday, RTM and Astro announced that the television stations are providing the temporary Malaysia for Palestine channel, available from noon today to the next day, dedicated to highlighting the humanitarian crisis in Palestine. The Malaysia for Palestine channel will feature interviews, special performances, and documentaries to highlight the plight of the Palestinian people. The School Milk Programme, PSS, implemented by the Education Ministry, or MOE, in collaboration with synergistic partners, including dairy producer Farm Fresh Berhad, has benefited 753,054 students from 7,398 primary schools nationwide. Education Minister Fadlina Sidek said PSS, conducted under the Supplementary Food Programme, or RMT, aims to combat and address multi-dimensional poverty issues, particularly those closely related to malnutrition among students from B40 families. Fadlina said the primary objective of implementing the PSS is to cultivate the practice of consuming milk or dairy products in students' diets, especially those from low-income families, thereby shaping a healthy and active generation.
Jadi ini juga selaras dengan inisiatif di peringkat Kementerian Pendidikan Malaysia yang sudah pun berada dalam gerakan ataupun tumpuan kita, termasuk program rancangan makanan tambahan, HITS, program yang menumpukan kepada pemakanan sihat dan seimbang, juga program susu sekolah. Ya.
She said this to reporters after officiating the National School Milk Day Carnival in Aquaculture today. She said advocacy programs related to the importance of balanced food intake among primary school students are crucial and should be continued, such as the National School Milk Day Carnival, to raise awareness of these issues. Earlier during the event, Fadlina also presented several awards, including for the National Subsidized Milk Competition and the Best RMT and PSS Management Competition at the national level. Coming up next, intensify efforts to draw investments and empower landscape industry. But before that, Prime Minister Datuk Sri Anwar Ibrahim is urging all ministries and departments to adopt the Madani slogan as a dynamic concept, aligning with technological advancements, digitalization and artificial intelligence, or AI, in the nation's development efforts. He also touched on the upcoming Islamic Economic Conference set to take place from 28th to 29th May in Kuala Lumpur, which will consider the principles of Sharia with a broader and more comprehensive scope.
Sebab itu saya buka Madani yang boleh difahami bukan saja oleh umat Islam, tetapi juga bukan Islam di Malaysia. Kerana kalau suatu konsep di Malaysia ini hanya diterima oleh orang Islam dan tidak dirasakan selesa oleh yang bukan Islam, ia tidak jadi a national effort and a national vision. Saya nak Madani ini menjadi wawasan negara yang harus dapat difahami.
The Prime Minister said this in his speech at the Madani Convention in Aquaculture, Malacca today. 10 resolutions were discussed during the two-day convention that began yesterday. They include acknowledging that the Malaysia Madani Initiative can resolve issues affecting the Ummah, meeting current and future needs, and fulfilling the potential of the people, state and the country. The Ministry of Housing and Local Government, KPKT, will intensify efforts to draw landscape-related investments this year due to its significant potential as a new source of the country's economy. Minister Nga Kor Ming said KPKT aims to position Malaysia as a landscape product exporter following the expected increase in the value of the country's landscape industry to nearly 30 billion ringgit, contributing 2% to the gross domestic product. He said in a trade mission to Saudi Arabia last year, 150 million ringgit of investments were successfully obtained. He added that among Malaysia's landscape products, well received abroad, included fertilizers, plants, flowers and many others, as well as garden furniture, as Malaysia is the world's 10th largest furniture manufacturer.
KPKT akan memperhebatkan lagi. Okay, trade untuk tarik pelabur masuk dan memberi produk-produk landscape negara kita. We want to be the exporter, not importer. Kita nak ekspor kepakaran kita, produk kita.
He said this to reporters after the launch of the National Landscape Day, or HLN, 2024 at Shah Alam Lake Garden today. Nga said last year, Malaysia exported nearly 13 billion ringgit worth of furniture, including garden furniture. HLN 2024, which kicked off yesterday, is being held until 2nd June to allow landscape industry players to display their products and interact with a wider range of stakeholders, as well as expand their business networks and relationships with the community. The government is now in the final phase of preparing the draft of the Malaysian Media Council or MMC bill, including its impact analysis rules. Communications Minister Fahmi Fadil said the bill is expected to be tabled in the Dewan Rakyat in October. Fahmi also explained that the process to establish the Media Council took some time as it involved consultation with the Attorney General's chambers and needed to be considered and decided upon by the Cabinet.
Mesyuarat pos kabinet yang terakhir pada beberapa hari yang lalu, saya telah meminta supaya diteliti dan dipercepat proses itu. Dia akan makan masa tapi perlu dilalui. Yang sebelum ni kita tidak dimaklumkan, tapi sekarang ni kita sedang atur dan kita sedang di fasa akhir sebelum ia melalui proses itu.
Short-term interbank rates are expected to remain stable next week on Bank Negara Malaysia's or BNM operations to absorb surplus liquidity from the financial system. This week, the central bank intervened daily to reduce excess funds from the financial system by conducting reverse repo tenders and Islamic reverse repo tenders. The liquidity surplus in the conventional system for the week increased to 29.13 billion ringgit from 28.83 billion ringgit in the preceding week. In the Islamic system, surplus liquidity rose to 23.41 billion ringgit from 18.51 billion ringgit. The Malaysia Islamic overnight rate stood at 3% as of 23rd May. And now for some aquaculture news. Sungai Timun has the potential of being a production hub for lobsters or the blue spiny species, thus boosting ecotourism in Negeri Sembilan. State Exco Dato' Seri Jalaluddin Alias said in that effort, the state government will ensure that the release of the wild or juvenile lobster seeds can be done in a more organised manner, according to the schedule set in that river. Speaking to reporters at Sopit Biru Sungai Timun program, he said the release of lobsters also needs a more organised schedule so that the supply of lobsters will always be sufficient, thus attracting more fishing of freshwater products by those from across the country.
Tidak mustahil di sepanjang laluan ataupun aliran perjalanan laluan daripada sepanjang Sungai Timun ini boleh kita jadikan sebagai hub pengeluaran udang galah liar yang boleh diperoleh pada bila-bila masa, apatah lagi waktu-waktu tuaian udang galah yang akan dikunjungi oleh masyarakat pada tempoh-tempoh kemungkinan kalau tidak memadai kalau saya sebut dalam tempoh tahun 2025 atau seawal 2026 kita boleh isytiharkan kawasan ini.
Dato' Seri Jalaluddin said the agencies involved need to provide more specific exposure to lobster farming knowledge in order to obtain quality production. Still ahead, Taiwan rally against reform plan. Welcome back. Protests continued to be held through the night in Taiwan's capital, Taipei, on Friday against parliamentary reform plans. The issue has dominated conversations on the self-ruled island for the past week, eclipsing news of Beijing launching military drills around Taiwan to punish President Lai Ching-te. More than 100,000 people rallied in Taiwan on Friday against a set of parliamentary reforms proposed by the opposition. The largest opposition, Kuomintang Party, and the second largest, Taiwan's People's Party, are leading deliberations on the legislation. The prosecutors accuse the bloc of trying to unjustly expand its authority. The proposed reforms include amendments to the criminal code. One revision requires the president to make regular reports and face questions from lawmakers. The ruling party is resisting the legislation, and voting on each article has been slow. Even if the legislation is passed, the executive yuan or cabinet can call for a second round of deliberations or a constitutional review. Civic groups plan to hold another rally on the sidelines of a plenary session scheduled for Tuesday. Our next story has some rather tragic news from the Pacific. The death toll from a massive landslide in a remote region of northern Papua New Guinea has risen to more than 300. A lawmaker said on Saturday. While confirming the latest death toll, Amos Akim, a member of parliament from the Enga province, said the landslide that hit the Maip Mulitaka region in the early hours of Friday also ripped out 1,182 houses in the rural local level governments or LLGs area. According to ground reports, he said the landslide buried more than 300 people and devastated 6 villages in the region. The landslide destroyed Yambili village in Enga province, which is over 600 kilometers northwest of the capital Port Moresby. Mark Ipuya, a local leader and former lawmaker from the region, said Yambali village is covered in large piles of rocks caused by the deadly landslide that occurred about 3 a.m. The local authorities have not confirmed the death toll yet. The landslide has also blocked a road leading to the town of Porgera, which is home to a large gold mine. The United States and Australia have separately offered assistance to Papua New Guinea's government. President Joe Biden and his wife expressed their concern for the affected people in a message. Australian Foreign Minister Penny Wong said Canberra is ready to assist the government. Coming up in sports, Noza sticking to decision to resign. Stay with us. Dato' V. Subramaniam is set to take on the role of acting president of the Badminton Association of Malaysia, also known as BAM, after current president Tan Sri Norza Zakaria resigns from his position. Tan Sri Norza announced that he will honour his word of stepping down after the Paris Olympics in July and has appointed Deputy President Dato' Subramaniam as acting president with the blessing of the BAM Council members. He said the Council of Members and himself have decided to unanimously appoint Dato' Subramaniam as the acting president until the BAM elections next year, where the next permanent president will be elected.
Why we want to reduce that so-called activity of lobbying, kita buat tahun depan. Tahun depan tu memang dah tentu bila kita call AGM antara April ke Jun tu itu dah memang proses dia. Jangan tunggu, jangan proses tu kita buat early. Orang patut AGM next year, sekarang lagi orang dah bincang pasal siapa nak menjadi presiden. Ya. Tentunya memang saya retire 24 Ogos. Itulah.
Tan Sri Norza said this after chairing a BAM council meeting at the Axiata Arena in Bukit Jalil today. He said the decision to appoint the next permanent president at the BAM elections next year is to maintain stability in the organisation and ensure a smooth transition. More updates from the world of badminton. Pearly Tan and M. Tina are out of the Malaysia Masters. The top seeds fell short in their bid to reach their second consecutive final after going down 21-16, 21-11 to South Korea's Lee Yu Lim and Shin Swang Chan in the semi-finals at the Axiata Arena, Bukit Jalil today. For the record, it was Perli Tina's first defeat to the South Korean world number 26. In last year's final, the former French Open champions lost to South Korea's Baek Ha-na Lee So-hee.
Opponent also played a good game today, so I think we need to go back and work back our strategy again with each other and also coaches and focus for the next game.
The South Koreans will meet R. Iwanaga, Kei Nakanishi of Japan, who beat Stefani and Gabriel Stoiva of Bulgaria 21-14, 21-16 in the other semi-final match. Still more badminton news. Newlyweds Goh Sun Huat and Siobhan Lai Jae-mi are just one match away from winning their second World Tour title this season after reaching the Malaysia Masters final today. In the semi-finals at the Axiata Arena in Bukit Jalil, the world number 18 independent duo needed only 40 minutes to oust compatriots and Paris Olympic-bound Chen Tangji and To Yi-wei 21-11, 21-19. Soon Huat Siobhan, who won the Swiss Open in March, will play third seeds Rinov Rivaldi, Pitya Haningtyas Mentari of Indonesia on Sunday for the crown.
Kita game plan first thing I think speed memang mau ikut dengan Chen Tangji dulu sebab memang dia speed dengan power, so speed saya harus kejar dulu dan baru game plan atau rhythm semua untuk kawal control game dengan strategi baru boleh masuk.
The Malaysians have a strong record against Rinov Pitya, having triumphed in 5 out of 6 meetings. Tomorrow would be Soon Huat Siobhan's second Malaysia's Masters final, after losing to the then compatriots Tan Kiang Meng, Lai Pei Jing in the 2017 edition. And now we move on to the world of football. Terengganu FC, or TFC, head coach Tomislav Steinbruckner hailed his team's performance as they defeated Kelantan Darul Naim, or KDN FC, in their Super League match at Sultan Mizan Zainal Abidin Stadium Friday night. The Croatian said that after 2 disappointing matches, the Turtles finally showcased their true capabilities, enabling the team to secure 3 points and top the league standings. He hopes that the players can maintain this momentum to achieve their goal of winning a trophy this season. Met after the match, Steinbruckner said he's very satisfied with his boys' performance as they looked much better from 2 matches before. In the match, the Turtles defeated KDN FC 3-0 with goals from Ismail Akinade, Manuel Ott and Nurilo Tuktasinov. Meanwhile, KDN FC coach Park Jae-hong said that TFC's penalty goal in the first half disrupted his team's gameplay. Additionally, he said the bluntness of the attack and the ineffective midfield were also problems for the team. With the victory, TFC rose to the top of the league, while KDN FC remained at the bottom of the 13 competing teams. In another Super League match, Kedah Darul Aman, or KDA FC manager Nafuzi Zain accepted his team's defeat at home to Perak FC in the Super League Friday night. In a disappointed tone, Nafuzi still expressed his pride and praised the performance displayed by his players, who have shown high spirit and created many chances, but failed to produce a goal. In terms of performance, he said the players showed extraordinary enthusiasm, adding that overall, all the players from start to finish worked hard and created many opportunities, but it did not happen. In that match, KDA-FC lost 2-0 to Perak before almost 10,000 spectators at Darul Aman Stadium in Alor-Setar. Meanwhile, Perak head coach Yusri Che Lah said the victory over Kedah was very meaningful and fueled his team for more victories after this. He said the triumph was a relief for Perak players and supporters who wanted a victory at Darul Aman Stadium after failing to do so in several previous matches. Yusri also praised the performance of the 21-year-old import player from South Korea, Lee Tae-min, who showed extraordinary ability to score 2 goals last night. And now news on a football team that has a rather big night ahead of them. Manchester United manager Erik ten Hag will be sacked following today's FA Cup final against Manchester City, regardless of the result. The club has refused to comment on Ten Hag's fate, however. According to media reports, the Dutchman's fate has been sealed as co-owner Jim Ratcliffe is looking to appoint a new coach. Ahead of the 2024-2025 season, Manchester United finished the season in 8th place on 60 points, their worst performance in the Premier League era. Ten Hag's United won the League Cup in his first season in charge and has also reached the FA Cup final where they lost to Manchester City. Saturday's final is a repeat of last year's match, with Pep Guardiola's Manchester City aiming to complete the double after winning the 4th consecutive Premier League last weekend. And that's it from us this evening. In our top story, government to table gig workers commission bill in July. From the river to the sea, Palestine will be free. And remember guys, don't just have a good weekend, have a memorable one. Thanks for watching. Good night.